I am happy to have with me New Zealand's premier white ball batsman and father of a future TV broadcaster, Colin Munro, with us. Colin, hope you're doing well and the lockdown phase is treating you well, and everyone at home is safe and sound.
Yeah, everyone's good. Thank you very much. Good to be here. But yeah, we're not in lockdown anymore, so we're pretty lucky, fortunate to be on level one now. So we are out and about doing things normally now in New Zealand, so it's pretty good.
Uh, Colin, now in your early days, you were born in South Africa. Uh, Tell us something about that early days in South Africa and the move to New Zealand. How was that phase in your life?
Yeah, obviously growing up in South Africa, I had three older brothers, so I was always um, the one fighting to get an opportunity to bat or bowl in the backyard. And I was fortunate enough to do all my schooling over there in South Africa, and the sporting system and the schools there is very strong. So yeah, moved over to New Zealand with the family when I was 15, and lucky enough to get seen by Deepak Patel quite early on. And yeah, I was sort of with Deepak for 3 or 4 years in the under 17, 19s, and then at my local club at Howard Pakuranga. So yeah, it was just lucky enough that he saw me early playing school cricket and sort of said, yeah, give it a crack and come and play some Premier cricket for Howard.
So you've been an Auckland boy through and through?
Yes, I've been in Auckland since I've moved to New Zealand, and yeah, hopefully I'll finish my career here in the next couple of years.
And you always looked up to Jack Kallis as some sort of a hero because he was also a batting all-rounder. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think there was a few plays I look back in, but obviously Jacques Kallis being a top order batsman, I used to bat at number 3 or 4 in South Africa growing up, and used to open the bowling or bowl first change. So yeah, always looked upon him as somebody that I could aspire to be somehow. And yeah, I think I'm not far off by saying it was most children around my age watching South African sport was probably he was probably the one to aspire to be if you wanted to be a great player.
Uh, you played the Under 19 World Cup for New Zealand in 2006, and then in a few years' time, you were coming up the ranks. Would you say that the period between 2011 to 2013 was your best phase because you sort of came into national prominence through performances in first class cricket?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think obviously domestically 2000 and yeah 2011 to 2000 yeah until I was selected, and just a bit after that my first class stats or career sort of speak for themselves in terms of the amount of runs I scored, and I think it's only about 45 games for Auckland. So yeah, I think those were some good years. But then internationally, it took me a long time to sort of find my feet. I always found that I was good enough, but sometimes just the belief there, especially when you're not too sure exactly on your role, because I was sort of batting in the middle and down to 6 or 7 and then back up to sort of 4 or 5, and didn't quite nail the role until Brendon McCullum retired, and then I got the opening spot in T20, and then fortunate enough, outside my comfort zone, went and opened the batting in one day cricket, and that's my role now. I know it, and I think the last, I think it was 2017, 18 was probably my best years, T20 wise, and then domestically T20. I think the last 2 or 3 years have been pretty good as well. Obviously playing around the world, in different tournaments, and back home here has been pretty good.
What is it about opening the batting in the white ball format that has sort of liberated you? Is it the fact that you have license to go out and strike, or is it your partner, Martin Guptill, who also is a similar kind of a batsman? What is it about opening that has liberated you?
I think T20 batting, I think you just go out there and play what's in front of you, and you just watch the ball, hit the ball hard, and try and generate a strike rate in those first six. If you get out, you get out. If that's the name of the game. If you're going hard and aggressively, and I think with Martin Guptill on the other end, we've got a good relationship since I first moved to the country, and we know each other pretty well. And I started opening the batting for New Zealand with him, and he's done it for so long, so he understands what the ups and downs are about. So yeah, still finding my feet in one day cricket. I haven't nailed that spot yet, but yeah, we'll just see what happens, and hopefully I can get a few more cracks in the future.
And in terms of your career, do you think that opening the batting probably came at the right time for you because your career sort of took off from there.
Yeah, it's 100%. I think so. I wasn't really. I mean, I was playing a few games here and there, a series or two. Like I said, didn't really know my role 100%. But then once I moved into becoming an opening batsman, your role is the same every game. You know, go out there, be aggressive. And I think the biggest thing in one-day cricket, I just probably didn't find that balance between being aggressive and not being aggressive, if that makes sense. So yeah, you know, T20, you just go out there and play the same way, and you know, it's been pretty good the last few years.
And you have the record for the second fastest 15 T20 cricket, the fastest 15 T20 international cricket for New Zealand. You're the only batsman to score three T20 international hundreds. Does it feel satisfied that all these records sit with you right now?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think obviously Rohit's beaten me now. He's got four hundreds, but yeah, I think obviously being the first person to get there is pretty special. Something that you can't take away. So when I'm 50 or 60, sitting on my deck having a quiet beer with the grandchildren, it'll be something to talk about a little bit. But yeah, I just think it's you play the game to win and make memories. So I've got plenty of those for sure.
And there's a question that every Indian has for you. Why do you love scoring runs against India so much, especially in T20 format?
I honestly, I have no idea. And you come up against the likes of Shami and Boomer and Kaldeep and all the guys you don't really want to face, and then when you come up against them and you score runs, it's really satisfying. I think it's sometimes putting that extra added pressure on yourself because you're coming up against the best team in the world that play a lot of cricket. Whether it's in India or here, I've done pretty well against them. So to test yourself against the best and to be successful against the best is pretty rewarding.
Now, coming to your first class career, you haven't obviously played first class cricket for a while. You made your test match debut against South Africa, and you played that only one test. Was that interesting moment for you because you're making your test debut against a team where you were born and you knew the country very well? Was that an interesting moment for you in that sense?
Yeah, it was. I think that first tour that I went to South Africa on. I was named in the T20 and in the one days, and the tests were in the middle. So I was going to come home, play a bit of domestic cricket for Auckland, and then go back and play the one days at the end for New Zealand against South Africa. But I can't remember who it was, but somebody went down injured. Batter got sick, I think, and had to come home or couldn't come across. So I was, just asked to stay on and be cover. And the likelihood of me playing in any of the two test matches was very slim. So I just stayed there and did training. And I first went into the blackouts, my fitness was very, very poor. So I just worked with the trainer on my fitness for those 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden, the night before the second test, James Franklin went down with a calf injury, and that night I was told I was going to play. So sort of went into that test match a little bit underdone. I didn't really bat a heck of a lot for those 2 weeks leading into the test match, but yeah, it was obviously a test match for me. I'd probably like to forget. It wasn't a great one personally and for the team. So yeah, obviously came back and wanted to do more of that. I was like, I remember Hashim Amla, who's a good friend of mine, came to me and said, it happens to the best of us. I think he even got a duck on his test debut, and other great players have done that. So it was good for him to just put his arm around me and say those things, because I didn't feel after that test match that I belonged in test cricket. So yeah, I just came back to play domestic cricket and wanted to play more test cricket after that. I sort of had a point to prove, and unfortunately just didn't get the opportunity again. So yeah.
And in terms of first class cricket, do you see yourself ever coming back to play first class cricket, or are you done with that kind of format?
You never say never, but I think I'm done playing red ball cricket. Just the times it falls in New Zealand. I think for me, it's really asking a little bit too much of the body. And am I really going to play test cricket again for New Zealand? That's the carrot. I'm still, going to hopefully play some white ball cricket. So those are the formats that I'm going to concentrate on now. Test team's done well, and there's obviously other batters around the country over the last 2 or 3 years since I've been playing red ball have sort of overtaken and next in line for sure.
And how big a influence has Brendon McCullum been? Because he sort of, since that South Africa tour in 2012-13, things sort of started looking up for New Zealand. How big an influence was he on New Zealand cricket overall and on you as well?
On New Zealand, he was massively important. And for me, he's been someone I've always spoken to about my batting, especially since he's retired. And I try to take over his sort of his role in the team. Obviously not with the leadership stuff, but the opening the batting. And yeah, he is just unbelievable for us. He went out there and just played it down and said play aggressive cricket. And when your leader's doing that, it just gives everyone else confidence to go out and do the same thing.
And you've obviously gone on and played cricket all over the world through franchise cricket. What has been the biggest learning for you by traveling around the world, playing in different kinds of leagues? What have you picked up most?
I just think taking time just to adapt to conditions. I think that's the biggest thing. I've played in most of the tournaments now around the world, so I've got that experience now. I'm playing all around the world in all different conditions, and now it's just about enjoying it. I think sometimes when I first got there, I put a lot too much pressure on myself and wanting to go there and dominate. And I don't play the best cricket when I'm like that. I like to go when I'm free and just enjoying my cricket. So every tournament I go to now, it's like looking for things to do outside the hotel and trying to keep myself busy that way. And then when it's time to play cricket, it's time to focus and play cricket. But when it's not, it's time to do other things. Then I like to get away from the game and just relax a little bit too.
And you obviously played in the IPL as well. Have you picked up any Hindi, any good Hindi, any bad Hindi in your time during the IPL?
Probably some Hindi that I'm not allowed to say on here, but yeah, some bad words. But that's what happens, when you teach people English, you teach them the bad words first, and when all us Kiwis go over there, the Indian boys teach us the bad words too.
And who are your teachers?
Oh, I can't be naming that. That'll be telling on them.
and you were the highest run getter in the Caribbean Premier League last year. Are you sort of disappointed that you didn't get picked for this year's IPL because you had it coming for you, as in like you're doing so well? Were you disappointed that you didn't get picked?
Yeah, a little bit. I think every time you don't get picked up on a tournament, when you put your name in, everyone's a little bit disappointed. And the opportunities I got with Delhi last year, I thought I did pretty well. But yeah, it's an auction. It's luck of the draw too. Which teams get which players, how much they spend and stuff. So you've just got to take it with a pinch of salt, and hopefully somebody gets injured and you can come over as a replacement player, or just wait till next year's auction. But yeah, I'll definitely be watching from home and watching a good game for sure.
And with you not playing first class cricket and you're playing only white ball cricket, does it give you enough work life balance in that sense? Because you're not, you may be on the road, but not literally on the road like some of the other all format players.
Yeah, I think it's actually quite nice for me because of the last 3 or 4 years I've actually been on the road a lot, playing a lot of franchise cricket, and then back here playing for Auckland. So yeah, this little period now and coming up to Christmas time later on in the year, a little bit of family time instead of worrying about 4-day cricket. So it's the only thing I'd say is 4-day cricket. You're getting time in the middle and batting a lot. Being a T20 specialist and only playing a few 1-days here and there, you sort of miss that time in the middle a little bit. So it's trying to find the balance of how many balls to hit at training as opposed to not enough. So yeah, I think for me though, it's best going in underdone. When I hit too many balls, I mentally fry myself and start thinking too much about my technique rather than just watching the ball and going from there.
And Colin, finally, how much longer do you see yourself being in the circuit, and what do you see yourself doing post cricket? Is there anything planned post cricket for you?
Yeah, I think obviously during this COVID-19 has given me some perspective on life, and there's plenty more to life than just cricket. So I've given myself 2 more years to play. And I say 2 years because I think that's when I want to be at my best. If I'm still going really well and performing and enjoying it, then I'll carry on playing. But for 2 years, I still think I've got a lot to offer in those 2 years. And then, yeah, like I said, if I'm going really well, carry on. But And then after cricket, I'd love to stay in the game, whether it's at schoolboy level and coaching or coaching domestic cricket. I don't see myself coaching international cricket. I've travelled so much. I think it's time for me to give back to my family. They've sacrificed so much for me to do what I do. So to be away from them coaching, it's going to feel like I'm playing again, and if not, I'll probably be away more than as a player. So I'd love to be a sort of high school teacher, teach a bit of PE, and then a bit of cricket on the sideline, and that would give me a good work-life balance.
Thanks a lot, Colin. It was a real pleasure chatting with you. I hope everything is fine with you and your family, and you guys stay safe. And I'll be looking out for the future TV broadcaster, sports broadcaster.
So thanks very much. Thanks for having me, and stay safe, everybody.
Thanks a lot.